Okay. So a couple announcements for your poster. Oh, come on. PowerPoint is due this Friday. Make sure you submit that on eCampus on time. For your group evaluations, that will be posted on during this weekend in the week 14 folder. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And you can submit this on eCampus by next Monday. So this is anonymous. You can be honest. Your final score are partially based on your teammates' evaluations. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you whether you think it was fair, and do you think how many percentage did they contribute to the group project. And then I'm gonna, based on that, I'm gonna grade your report and your poster. Then I'm gonna use that percentage. I'm gonna average it, and then that will be the scores for each group member. Does that make sense? Okay. And if you think there was unfairness, please provide some sort of evidence to help me make judgments. It can be the history of Google Doc. You know, when you do Google Doc, it has like the history, who contributed to what, right? I think Word has that too. Just find some sort of evidence, and then chat, etc. All right. And then for our presentation day, that's next Monday, November the 23rd. So I'm gonna make sure that is every group going to have the poster here, including the online students.
Isn't next week a reading day?
I think next Wednesday is a reading day.
Yeah, we're Monday and Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The following week after Thanksgiving is the reading day. Is the 30th, I want to say? Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, because when I asked, we have 9, and then we have 5 here. I don't know if you guys need the extra credit, but let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna go one by one because I didn't get any emails. I said if you can't have the poster here, email me so that we can figure out how to do it. I never got any emails. So for group 1, are you gonna have your poster here? Group 1?
Mr. Wan.
Yes.
So to clarify, so we turn in the PowerPoint on Friday.
Yes.
And then over the weekend, do we need to basically put that information onto a physical poster for presentation?
Yes. So I wouldn't wait until the weekend, because when you print those posters, it might take some time. It depends on whether they open on weekend. So I will. They don't, right?
They're not open on the weekend. No.
Yeah.
It's 8 to 5 or 9 to 5.
Do you know
Okay.
if they print over the weekend? Like if you get it in on Friday though, could you pick
They
it up?
have no queue right now, so you'll get your posters in minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think it's Zach, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So to submit the PowerPoint on Friday, I just want to keep you accountable. Make sure you have done the things. Don't wait until the last minute. But I wouldn't wait until the weekend to print out the poster, because like anything can happen. And if you don't get your poster, we don't see your poster here when you present, you get points off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And
Okay.
Where do you recommend that getting printed out?
It's on the guidebook. You can go to the architecture building. That's what I recommend. It's cheap and people can help you. You can also train your poster. You have many options. If you go to other places, I don't know the quality of those places. I don't know the price. You don't need to worry about the price because I'm paying for it. Just don't get anything that's over like $50.
For
Right.
reference,
Uh-huh.
for the size that the guidebook requires, they have the options of semi-gloss and canvas. So semi-gloss costs you $20,
Mhm.
and then I think canvas was going to be like 30 or 35.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Yes, not bad. Yeah, make sure you do that. And it's a good opportunity. You get your own poster. That's something that you can keep for later. I still have my undergrad poster. It's something meaningful. All right. Any other questions? Oh, okay. So group 1. Zach, you were in group 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So you come in here, right? Or someone in your group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Group 2, you come in. Okay. Group 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll be here. Group 4, you'll be here. Group 5. I think group 5 is all online students, right? Is group 5 here?
Yes, I'm here for group 5.
Great. Who are you?
I'm Amanda.
Amanda. Okay, cool. Do you know if anyone is gonna bring the poster here?
I think I'm the only one in College Station, so I'll be bringing the poster.
Okay, cool. And are you going to present here, or are you going to present through Zoom?
I think we're going to present through Zoom.
Okay, sounds good. So you're gonna just bring the poster here sometime before the class, and then I'm gonna set up the Zoom for you guys, right?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. All right. I just want to make sure every group is ready. If we have a larger class, I might not do that. I would just I already said it so many times. All right. So I invited 3 judges. So there'll be 4 in total, including me. It will be less biased, yes. And they will sit behind, and then they will take a look at your presentation. There is no requirement for the numbers of presenters. So you can have 1, you can have 2, 3, 4, 5. It's up to you, as long as every group member thinks it's fair. Okay. Your presenting time is between 5 to 8 minutes, and you will be stopped if you go over. Okay. If you haven't finished, that's it. So 8 minutes is the cut line. For your grading criteria, it will be based on your poster aesthetic and your presentation fluency. That's why you should practice, especially if you are transition from in-person to online presenters. Make sure you practice that. And then the content of your project. So let's say when you present it, does it make sense to the judges? And then the use of time, make sure it's between 5 to 8 minutes. And also in the presentation, make sure you have enough time for introduction methods instead of you have 4 minutes of introduction and then go through everything else within 1 minute. Okay. Yes?
For in-person presenting, can we have a note card? Or
Yeah, of course. You can have note cards, you can have I doubt that I would use this. So if you have to use this, that's fine too. Yes.
So we're basically just presenting, the poster and what we're presenting is basically our findings, right? So the stuff we wrote in the report, and then we're presenting.
Yeah, it's kind of like the summary of your final report.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right, since you are asking questions, I'm gonna just move to this slide. Wait, where did it go?
Mr. Wan,
Yes.
I believe I emailed you, but was the poster presentation is like a trifold, right?
Trifold. You mean the thing that you folded up, or do you mean the
Yeah,
layout?
so my group are a little bit confused because we weren't sure if it was like research presentation type poster or like the PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, it should be a poster. You're not going to have. Wait, so are you Anderson?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I responded.
Okay, maybe I missed it.
Uh-huh.
I had to send a follow-up email on Sunday, I believe.
Okay.
It could have just been that I missed it.
Okay, yeah, I remember your email, and then I'm pretty sure I responded. So the poster, I think you already printed out the poster, right? So yeah, Hope already printed out. So it's on the guidebook. It shows you how the poster is going to look like, and then you're going to just use the poster kind of as your notes to go through what you have done and what you have found.
Okay.
Yep.
And did we come to a conclusion on what we're doing? Because like only one of our group members is in College Station.
Oh, that's up to you guys. So, in your group, you can discuss whether you want to have one presenter or you want to have multiple presenter, as long as you think it's fair. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
Mr. Wan,
Yes.
where exactly is the guidebook on eCampus?
Come on, you're asking it out. It's under project, and then I think that's underneath like where you submit it, or I think that's the first item that you see.
Yeah, it's just called Project Guidebook, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I found it.
Okay, good. All right. Any other questions? You're good? Okay, make sure you practice with your teammates and then talk about it. Communication is very important, as we learned in this class. Yeah, and what else? And if you have questions before the presentation day, email me. If I don't see the email, send another one or text me. I think you still have your phone, my phone number. I think that's it. Oh, try to be professional that day. Usually when we go to conference or when we present in my undergrad, we have this practice is that you always present the best of yourself. It's not a requirement. It just helps you to have this habit. When you have something that's formal, you have your good attitude and your good appearance.
So would you like us to dress up?
It's up to you, but my suggestion it is because I don't think I talked about this in our class, is how you look actually affects your confidence level. What else? And appearance. First appearance is so important. We learned that, right? When you go to job interviews and especially conferences, people only see you for a couple minutes. You want to look good, especially for the judges. They haven't seen you before, right? Okay. That's all I can think of for your presentation day. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. All right, we're gonna finish up our chapter 12, which is competition and cooperation. So competition is any performance situation structured in such a way that success depends on performing better than others. This definition is based on the American Psychological Association. It's kind of different from our textbook. Sometimes I don't really like the textbook. Their definition is a little vague or too specific for a certain situation. So I'm using the general psychology definition. We have interpersonal competition and we have intergroup competition. Very easy to understand. One is between individual, one is between groups. Can you think of any example that's interpersonal competition?
Well, this one comes around. Have you ever seen the show Survivor?
I haven't.
Have y'all seen the show Survivor? Or do y'all know what I'm talking about? Basically, it's like this show where a bunch of people are put put on an island. It actually has both intergroup and interpersonal. Because they start in like 2 tribes, and they're competing, and each week they have to vote someone off the island.
Oh, okay.
And then when it gets down to 10 people, it's just 10 of them, and they each play one competition to stay safe for the week, and then the other ones can be voted out.
Gotcha. So it's like a survival game.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, it has both interpersonal and intergroup competition, right? Very good. And in a lot of sports, we see interperson competition is like 1 versus 1, and then we have the intergroup competitions, group versus group, like basketball, soccer. Yeah. All right. Cooperation. That's a process whereby 2 or more individuals work together towards the attainment of a mutual goal or complementary goals. Again, this is from the American Psychological Association instead of your textbook. All right. Any questions on this? Okay, good. So cooperation, pretty easy. Example would be your team project, right? Okay. So question, what are the pros and cons of competition?
It makes you work harder.
It makes you work harder. Is that a pro or a con?
That'll be a pro.
Pro?
Because then you have like better results if everyone's trying harder.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In a way, can some competition be a form of cooperation?
How so?
Like if you're both competing towards the same goal, you'll want to work harder to beat that person out.
Let's look at the definition then. So if you have the same goal, but you're not working together, you're working for your own success.
Okay.
Do you think?
Then that would just
Okay.
be competition.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good question though.
I think a con can be obviously like the losers.
The loser, yeah.
Might face I don't know.
Consequences.
Consequences, yeah. Consequences or lower self-esteem
Uh-huh.
have some effects on their mental
Yeah.
health.
Yeah. Exactly.
For
Anything
winners,
else?
you can, I mean, in competition, this is like, yeah, I guess it's still a con, but even for winners, there can be like egocentrism
Mhm.
and some stuff that it boosts there. That can lead them to be like less likable and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's possible. Mm-hmm.
Also, in a different way, like some competition's unnecessary
Mhm.
in a sense, and so like there's like some competition like is and it's for our benefit,
Yeah.
but some of it's unnecessary and ends up being more of a division between us.
What would be beneficial and what would be unnecessary? Can you give us some example?
Let me think. I would say, I know sometimes, like, especially among sports teams, like, a healthy competition is like playing a game, there's a winner and loser.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that's good because you want to be better.
Mhm.
But then, like, say a coach also does that with his own team, and
Mhm.
he ranks the players. I've seen that before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that
Yep.
ends up causing more division among the teammates
Yeah.
because then you like have a division of like you're just not like it's more of like out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So sometimes we see fights between teams that would be unnecessary. Would you think? Okay. And then healthy competition would be they're competing, and then I don't know. We get entertained, and then they get their prizes. Yeah. All right. So right now, you guys are thinking like kind of smaller scale. What about bigger scale, like countries competing with countries?
Or
Yeah, war. So that would be a con, right?
probably a con, yeah.
But it could also drive this society.
It could also be a pro in
Mhm.
the sense of like research. Like,
Yeah.
the Cold War was awful because like there's all these bombs we could drop on each other, like
Mhm.
nuclear war, right? But
Mhm.
at the same time, it boosted the breadth of knowledge that we had about that science.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was gonna say like the race to the moon also,
Mhm, mhm.
whenever the countries are competing to see who could be the first to.
Yeah. So it drives society forward, especially technologies, right? So that would be a con. Another con will be bring stress to people. Like when you compete to others, you get stressful, right? Sometimes stress can be good, sometimes can be bad if you have too much stress, right? All right, very good. So what are some of the pros and cons of cooperation then? Yes.
Probably since you're working towards a common goal, it'll be done more efficiently because you're actually working together.
Okay, very good. So that would be a pro. Very good. Yeah.
Con would be you might get less done because you might not have as much like in common maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or just working together with larger groups.
So when people get lazy in a group, what do we call that?
Loafing.
Yeah, social loafing. Yep. So you might slow down the process when you cooperate, right? Right. Anything else?
There's less incentive in cooperation.
Mm-hmm. When you say incentive, do you mean people have to split the price or?
No, like if you're working in a group
Uh-huh.
and you know that the group is gonna still get an outcome,
Gotcha.
like you have no incentive to work, like put
Gotcha,
effort
gotcha.
into the group.
So your motivation kind of
Yeah.
lowers down. Yep. Very good. Very good. So because of time, I'm gonna tell you some of the pros. So we can build up social support through cooperation, right? And from an evolutionary standpoint, is that people are more likely to survive when they cooperate. Right? Cons will be social loafing. We talked about. I can't think of any other obvious cons for cooperation, but if you can think of any, that'd be great. Okay, so morality. This is one of the factors that drives people to cooperate. We have social conventional morality. Those are the norms that inform what is appropriate within the culture. This does not involve doing good or harm to others. One example it would be, how many of you know this case? No. So they are a couple, but also she's the biological daughter of him. So incest. This is a very kind of complicated, messed up story. He ended up killing her and their baby, and her adoptive father. So it's very twisted. But incest, this is a social conventional morality issue, right? Without looking at whether he killed the other people, just the incest behavior. It's appropriate in some culture, but inappropriate in some other culture, right? What else can be social conventional morality?
Perhaps dress, like the way
Dress.
you're expected to dress
Mhm.
in a certain circumstance.
Yeah. So how people wear their clothes. Yeah. Some places men are allowed to wear dress, right? Some places less appropriate. Yeah. Very good. What else? Think about religions. What are some examples that's related to religions? So, yeah.
I guess certain religions have like certain rules about what is okay to do or not do. For instance, like whether or not that's eating a certain food or acting
Mhm.
in a certain way.
Yeah. So food, like Muslims, they don't eat pork, right? Yep. And then what else? A lot of religions, they think that homosexuality is inappropriate, right? But in some other culture, it might be appropriate. So those are social conventional morality. And then we have the harm-based morality. This is the norms that suggest harming others, either physically or psychologically, is wrong. Pretty easy to understand, right? One example would be police brutality. So regardless, the reason harming other people, why they're harming them, is less important here, but we see that they are harming other people and we think that's wrong, right? Okay. Any questions on morality? We good? Okay, so those are the definitions. And then we have fairness. Social fairness is another factor that drives people to cooperate. We have the distributive fairness. That's our judgments about whether or not a party is receiving a fair share of the available rewards. So, for example, our team project, if everyone contributed equally, you should get the same points for your team project, right? And then if you contributed unequally, you should have different points based on your performance, right? So that's distributive fairness. And then we have procedure fairness. That's the beliefs about the fairness of procedures used to distribute available rewards among parties. So that's more about the procedure itself. It doesn't matter the outcome. Was it fair or not? But it's more about the procedure. One example would be standardized test. When you take SAT, ACT, those are relatively fair procedures for school to select students. Does that make sense? So some people might get into this school, some people might get into a different school. The outcome can be different, but the procedure is relatively fair for everyone. Okay, so now can you think of any example for each fairness? It can be very simple.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you already said this, but like the teammate evaluation for distributed.
So yeah, so that will be the outcome, right? Okay. Okay.
I think salary for distributive fairness in a workplace, a lot of people, like whenever people start, some people start at different levels of pay even though they might be doing the same job.
Okay. So what about the pay gap for genders? Do you think that's distributive fairness problem or procedure fairness problem? Or can it be both?
I think both.
Both, right? Yeah, I think it's both too. It depends on the problem, like what happened. Right. So now let's have some discussion. Very interesting. So, how do people act when they see or experience something immoral? Yeah.
Now that's difficult because I think that, at least from what I've seen, I feel like there used to be like if we're talking about morality that's like socially accepted, usually someone I feel like will speak up. Like bullying. We're living, it's like bullying is so clearly, if you see someone so clearly bullying someone,
Yeah.
that's like beyond teasing and stuff like that, someone will usually speak out.
Okay.
Hopefully. But the thing is, I feel like when you talk about religion, a lot of people view a lot of different things differently. So like if someone views homosexuality as inappropriate and culture views homosexuality as appropriate, no one's probably going to speak up. I think honestly it depends on what, like people will read the room and feel like if you're surrounded, if you sense that you're surrounded by a lot of people who think that homosexuality is appropriate, people probably aren't going to say anything saying, hey, that's inappropriate. And if people are in a lot of people, if people feel like they're in a room, a bunch of people who think that it's inappropriate, they're probably not going to speak up and say, hey, we should allow this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so basically you can either act or not act, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this. Is it okay for a person to marry his cousin? Why or why not? What do you think?
So I had a professor ask me this one time. Because I guess the country where she's from, it's very common.
Oh, really? Where's she from?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Where. but it was a very small country somewhere, but she like mentioned like a lot of people marry their cousins, and I thought that was the most bizarre thing, but I didn't want to tell that straight to her face.
Well, if it's open discussion.
Yeah. I said that's very different, but I like my first reaction was like, what?
So, would you say you think this is okay or no? If you think it's okay.
Depending on where you are, I guess.
Okay.
And also I guess like.
Let's just throw that away for
if
you
were to
guys.
Say no.
Yeah.
I would
No.
say no.
No.
I thought outside of morals, it was like biologically like cause a lot of problems.
Yeah. So it might cause like genetics diseases, right? So let's say we use nowadays technologies. We get rid of all those genetic diseases. We make sure the baby is healthy. Do you think is it okay for the person to marry his cousin? Like the mother is gonna be okay, the baby is gonna be okay, everyone's gonna be fine, no genetic problems.
I feel like since you can't promise that there's going to be no genetic problems, since there's a large chance that there will be a genetic problem, then
Let's assume that we don't have the problems.
Also,
The technology is so advanced that we just got rid of that.
with just the social like norm against it, I would say no.
Okay, yeah. So based on social
my
norms, right?
opinion.
Yeah.
So I would also say no,
Mm-hmm.
but I probably believed it. Like I believe that there is a God, and so I believe that God is like.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that it's about social norms, right? And then you said it's about religions. What about you guys?
I mean, for me, that seems like personally weird to me.
Okay. Yeah. Personal
but
weird.
I don't know
Yeah.
that it's like inherently bad. Like I can't think of a reason
Mhm,
besides the
mhm.
biological stuff that it would be
Yeah.
bad.
But you just think it's weird,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's the biological, and then also there's also issues with like a lot of these countries where they're marrying their cousin. There's like this huge age gap.
Okay.
So obviously, if it's just the same age people around
Uh-huh.
the same age, and there's no, it's weird.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
But if there's no biological problems,
Uh-huh.
technically, but not really. Yeah.
All right. So could be complicated. What about this? Have you heard of the trolley dilemma?
Oh, yeah, this is crazy.
Okay. So for those who doesn't know, a train is coming, and there are 5 people on the railroad who cannot escape. And then you're standing next to a switch that can divert the train to a second track with just one person. Would you flip that switch?
Yes.
Yes.
I would still
Okay.
flip the switch, even though understanding that takes an active involvement in basically killing someone.
Okay.
But if you don't do anything, you feel like it's also, if you have the power to do something and to stop 5 people from dying, that is still you.
Yeah.
Even though it might not feel as active.
Okay. Remember what you're saying right now. Okay. What about you guys? So you say yes,
I
right?
would flip the switch because like there's a chance that that one person will be able to escape, but there's a smaller chance that all 5 people are going to be able to escape. And I agree with that. Even though so I was raised Catholic, and there's such a thing as sins of omission. So that's a sin when you omit to do something. So I would feel like in this case, even though you're saying, "Oh, I'm not going to do anything," you're still allowing 5 people to die when you could possibly change that.
Is it
Okay.
like a circular track where everyone's gonna get hit?
Yeah.
Why is
Yeah.
it
Let's not look at the picture. Just pretend that when the train runs over someone, it gets stuck by the body. Okay.
That was my next question.
It is a bad drawing.
I feel like my next question would also be like, in a sense of I don't know anyone, I would be the great person and flip it just to the one person. But say if it was like, let's just say like, that was my husband or like my child, and then it was 5 complete strangers. Like I feel like I might be inclined to save my child.
Okay, so let's get rid of all the other variables. Let's say we know they for sure cannot escape.
Yeah.
They would die,
Like,
and
the
then
person is definitely dying.
and we know they're all strangers,
Yeah.
and we know for sure they are all good people without any other things like they're all smart, they can contribute to the society. Okay, so will most people flip the switch? Okay, so do you know what that's called? That's called utilitarian.
Oh, utilitarian.
Yeah, utilitarian. So what you think is morally correct would be 5 lives is larger than 1 life, right? And that would be a better outcome than the other one. Okay, so now let's take a look at this situation. I don't know if you heard this.
Yeah.
So yeah, the train is coming, and then there are 5 people on the railroad who cannot escape. You're standing on a bridge next to a very large man. You can push him over, and his body will stop the train and save the 5 people. Would you do that?
Yes, it's so hard.
I think this case is different because in the other scenario, that person, the one person, was already in danger, whereas in this case, you're putting someone else's life in
Wait,
danger.
the other person's not in danger because the train's not going that way.
Okay, that's true.
I mean, they're in a more dangerous spot, like strapped to a railroad track.
It
They're
is,
standing there.
but
If it's inescapable road, like, they can easily run off the side, yeah.
let's say you get rid of all that assumptions.
Yeah.
Just based on your behavior,
Just
flipping a
going-
switch, and then here you're pushing this person.
Mhm.
The consequence is the same. Would you do it? No. No. Okay. What about you guys?
It's like, no, realistically, I would never. And in the sake of this, I'd like to say,
Mhm.
yeah, it should still make sense according to what I said before. But like, I don't think I could go through with it. I think
Okay.
even if I like fully knew this people,
Yeah.
it's just so hard. I don't know.
But do you remember what you just said for the other one? You said
Yeah.
your behavior.
I definitely did. I definitely did. See,
Uh-huh.
it's like,
You're also taking a more active role in this.
Okay.
yeah.
So you think pushing is a more active role than flipping the
Yeah.
switch?
In your mind, it feels like it.
It's hard
Okay.
because
While you are doing the same thing.
in the
Okay.
other one, I could convince myself I'm just affecting the train. In this one, and like help myself.
Uh-huh.
In this one, it's like I'm having to grab this dude. Like I'm totally
Yeah.
like. Then it, it feels like
Yeah.
that feels more like murder.
So most people will say no, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what the study found too. So they found that 90% people agreed they would flip the switch, but only 10% would say that they will push the person to stop the train. According to the utilitarianism, it's the same behavior. 1 life should be smaller than 5 lives. You should still do it, but people don't. One possibility is people think that pushing the person feels more personal, which elicit more emotions like guilt, what else? Shame, sadness. So, yeah, and this kind of relates to nowadays technology. The war, people start to use drones. You don't actually need to kill someone with a knife or a gun. You don't even need to see the person. You just fly a drone and then set a bomb to somewhere, and then people die. So that's like, do you feel emotions when you do that, or you just like playing video games? So it's something to think about, moral dilemma. All right, some fun facts. Men are more likely to say this is okay than women, and then people are more likely to sacrifice men than women. We don't know why, but that's according to the study. So, based on those situations, we know that in many cases, people make decisions other than a logical weighing of the pros and cons. So people are not always like rational. We have our morality or moral code. Okay. What about this? How do people act when they see or experience something unfair? It's pretty much the same thing. You either act or not act, right? Okay. So we have the false consciousness. That's the acceptance of one's own low status as part of the proper and normal functioning of society. So this suggests that people with lower socioeconomic status, they're more likely to accept their status, even though they should reject it due to unfairness. And one example would be homeless people. Sometimes you see people are homeless. They're in a disadvantaged stage, but they're not asking for justice. They're not asking for help. Sometimes they do, but you get the idea, right? I wish I had time to talk about this more, but can you think of a reason why? Or do you think this is linked to learned helplessness? Probably, right? There could be other reasons. So why do people accept it more when they're in a lower status? Okay, and then we have collective action. That's the attempts on the part of one group to change the social status hierarchy by improving the status of their own group. And one example would be the Black Lives Matter movement for black people. Of course, if you're a white person and then you support this, it's not supporting your own group. So those are the two main actions people take. You either accept it or you fight for unfairness. Okay. All right, that's it. I think. Can you think of any examples for the false consciousness and the collective action?
Well, okay, I know this isn't the exact same, but what's the, I know there's a name for when someone who's been, like, held captive just accepts
Oh.
the abuse.
I don't. It depends. Go
I was
ahead.
gonna say learned helplessness.
It's like that, but there's a term for people who are,
I think what you're talking about it's a psychological disease that.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
I think it's Stockholm
they-
syndrome.
Is it that people like the person who adopted them?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a
I guess I care
psychological.
more about learning helplessness. In some sense.
Thank you. Let's see what the online students are saying. Oh, right here.
Oh. Thanks.
Oh, still grows. Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. So that's exactly what you said, right?
I would say it's kind of similar with like the lower SES, but like with the false consent. I can't pronounce that word.
Consciousness.
Consciousness. Just in like saying like, especially you see this a lot with like people sometimes like applying to different like, say if they want to like live in a certain neighborhood, like there's still a lot of discrimination, especially if they've ever been like evicted or anything, or just like lower SES, or just of like certain presumptions made, or even
Yeah.
just in certain racisms too. You could either just accept it or take action.
Yeah. Sometimes when you go online, you see people like, why don't you just move out that area? Why don't you just do something about it? But sometimes psychological. Yeah.
The book mentioned briefly about how when you only look at the people around you, you don't really realize what you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is partly why they
Yeah.
really accept it, because they think, oh, well, I'm better off than the person 3 houses down from me, so yeah, then I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really need more because at least I'm not them.
Yeah.
So they're more likely to accept it based on that sort of like social comparison
Mm-hmm.
from their specific group.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. What about collective action? Do you see any other actions other than Black Lives Matter movement? Yeah.
I guess that would be like pride for like LGBT individuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're trying to fight for their rights. Could be marriages. What else? I don't.
You could make an argument for the Me Too movement and like
Me Too. Yeah.
feminism in
So
general.
yeah, Me Too is about gender equality, right? Right,
It's
or no?
partially gender equality, and it's also partially,
Sexual harassment.
yeah, making sure that the survivors of sexual assault or
Gotcha.
Other sexual harassment is
Yeah.
recognized.
Yeah, very good, very good. So sometimes people can move from this to this based on the situation or the society. All right, I think that's it. I think so. Let me see. Yep. Any questions on what we just talked about? I think that's all the content that we have. So reminder, this is the last class, and I want to thank you guys. It's been, I enjoyed it, but I hope that you enjoyed it too, and I hope that you learned something useful. That's the most important thing. And then we have the class picture on Monday. My idea is to finish the presentation, and then we just take a picture here, and then with the online students on the background here. And that's it.
So we're not coming in on Friday?
No, so use the time to work on your poster and presentation.
And the poster will be due, is that due at midnight on Friday? Or like
Midnight, before midnight on Friday. I think it's 11:59.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
yep. All right, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Wan.
Thank you.